Welcome back to another episode of Sports Tips by Jellyman, AFL by Jellyman segment here. Reviewing the weekend just gone, even though it is Wednesday, or if you listen to this on a Thursday, and then previewing the upcoming weekend, the gather round 5. Obviously, key stats from the weekend gone. Player and team consistencies, sort of top 4 for each team. Round 5 preview, which we've got plenty there. And then also round 5 best bets, so day-to-day best bets and round best bets as well, which we'll also be sharing on our TikTok and Reels. As always, feel free to like, follow, and subscribe. Sports Tips by Jellyman on all channels: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, etc. But cracking straight into it, looking at last week's Thursday night game. Obviously, the Brisbane Lions defeating Collingwood 116-83 up there in Brisbane. Not too much to take away from this one other than Brisbane is super strong at home. Charlie Cameron kicking 6. Collingwood just going to struggle out of the middle without a ruckman now. Doesn't mean they can't attack from their defence if they do lose those midfield contests, or they can't swoop on the balls, especially if Brisbane or the opposition has a dominant ruckman. It just means they will struggle in that area going forward until they get those guys back in the ruck. But around the ground, if they have people in there like McStay, it gives them an extra on-baller to roam around as well. But not too much to take away from that game. Brisbane need those wins at home, as that's where they're strongest, as they struggle going on the way. Collingwood actually has a big break coming into this weekend against St Kilda as well. Friday night's game, or afternoon game, the Good Friday game, North Melbourne going down to Carlton 107-84. Carlton really kicked away in the third quarter, and then North sort of kept themselves in it with a few misses from Carlton towards the back end. But North did kick themselves out of the game this one, 11-18. Zurha had the chance to have a big day, but similar to the other end, Mackay and Curnow also had a chance to have even bigger days as well. So that game sort of panned out how we thought it would be. Carlton 1-39 is what we had. A few disposals from the North side, but not as many from the Carlton side. As when Carlton went forward, they went forward efficiently. North sort of dominated the ball around the ground, but not too many takeaways from that one other than Carlton got a win they should have won, and we'll sort of write it off and go on to next week. The Crows beating the Dockers 111-72. This one, sort of shocked us, but Adelaide have been playing well and they are strong at home. It'll be interesting to see them play Carlton this week. So a really, really good matchup there. And obviously the Dockers, they just, other than Brayshaw and Sarong through the middle, they drop Brodie. He's their third on baller who gets a lot of those possessions. No one else is really stepping into those roles. Darcy's strong around the ground. That Luke Jackson combination is still working. The pressure out of the forward line is just coming out of there too easily. And then Adelaide, they kicked another score. And that young, exciting group with, Rankine and Rachele up forward. Fogarty comes back into the mould this week as well. They're playing an exciting brand of footy. And it's good to see. So we'll see how they both go this week coming up. Richmond losing to the Dogs 84-89. The Bulldogs 12-17. Tigers 12-12. I guess Richmond earlier on in the game started very slowly, got themselves back into it, but then the Dogs jumped back on top again, so it was a game of ebbs and flows. The Dogs midfield group dominated Richmond, and that's the biggest concern for the Tigers going forward, is that midfield group. How strong can they be? They brought in Taranto and Hopper, but N.Daicos is out for a few weeks now as well, and without N.Daicos, they really do struggle. So it'll be interesting to see how they come up in the coming weeks. The Dogs, obviously, their midfield group, if they play like that each week, they're going to get wins on the board, and they're potentially going to play finals again this season. The Saints are beating the Suns 113-60. We didn't get to watch this one, but obviously the Saints thumped the Suns. The Suns were competitive for the first half, but once again, it is a struggle to see them away from home. And they're away again this week and playing against Fremantle, I think it is, which is going to be a tough contest, both 1 and 3 teams there. Not too much to take away other than the Saints are 4-0 and they get Steele back in a couple of weeks' time. Now the Swans losing to the Power, pretty much on the siren floor, and had a shot after the siren. Dixon scored one of the goals to get them back in front. That is Port, 66-64. Back and forth game in this one. Sydney dominated early. And then Port got themselves back into the game in that in that second quarter. Quite an even third quarter, and also quite an even the Sydney Swans won the third quarter, and the Power kicked themselves back into it in that fourth quarter. They looked a lot better with Dixon in the ruck, a lot more mobile, a lot stronger, rather than Lycett. But Sydney's ruck troubles continue as well. A couple of concerning concussions there for Sydney as well, so we'll see how their backline looks coming into this weekend. The Dons, so Essendon defeat the Giants at Marvel, 88-75. Essendon looked good, their forward handball, their attack, their pressure, everything like that going forward. They kicked 11-22, so they had a chance to thump the Giants and put a big score on, but just couldn't kick. I'm not sure what it is with teams under the roof at Marvel, but for some reason they can't kick. So who knows what it is. Their midfield group, Essendon's midfield group, they look super strong, and I'm excited to see what they can do this season. The Giants just away from home just really do struggle, always have struggled. Next game was the Demons, they beat the Eagles. The Eagles in the first half looked really good. Their pressure was up, but obviously 126-63 was expected from both sides, even being an Eagles fan myself. We backed the Melbourne line in this one to kick away in that second half, which is what they did. Last game for the round was a Monday game, 127-45. Hawthorn looked strong for 2 quarters. Geelong obviously had some words at halftime and came out and kicked 10 goals in that third quarter, and then kicked away in the fourth quarter and ended up winning by 82 points, which is what's expected by a reigning premier compared to a bottom of the ladder team in that matchup. And Hawks just simply dominated in that second half, couldn't get their hands on the footy, just ran all over, and yet Geelong kicked away with it and turned them over at every opportunity. But that's obviously round 4 wrapped up. Looking at some key stats from round 4, obviously, Geelong, Melbourne and St Kilda getting good wins. Geelong by 82, Melbourne by 63, St Kilda by 53. Probably those 3 top tier. St Kilda don't have the cattle, but obviously playing against the Suns, it was just a matter of time. We got the big win. The losses, the Pies by 33 and the Dockers by 39, some large losses for good teams. In terms of disposal, Cripps 30, Daicos, that's of the Nick Kind 38, Parish 30, Brayshaw from Freo 31, Noah Anderson, Gold Coast 38, Duncan in return 31, which is impressive. Green, that's Tom from the Giants, 34. Clayton Olives at 34. Sheasel, once again, impressive, 37 off the half-back line. Dan Riol, 29, also impressive off the half-back line. Crouch, 34. Florent, 33. Dale, also off the half-back line, 30. And Kelly, 36. Goals, so 4+. Walker, 4. Cameron from Brisbane, 6. Curnow, 6. Stringer, 4. Cameron from Geelong, 7. McDonald, 4. Higgins, 5 there. Looking at some player and team consistencies, so top 4 from each squad. So looking at Adelaide, Rachele 15+ disposals in his first 4 games. Hinge 15+ in his first 4. Rankine 2+ goals in his first 4 games, and Rachele 2+ goals in 3 of his 4 games. From Brisbane, Conor McKenna 15+ in his first 4. Barry also 15+ in his first 4. Rayner 15+ in his last 3 games. Charlie Cameron 9 goals in his last 3 games. Obviously a big haul last game. For Carlton, Cripps 25+ in his first 4 games. Fisher 15+ in his last 3 games. Curnow 2+ goals in his last 4 games. Durdin 1+ goal in his last 3 games. Just a quick note, Walsh is likely back in for Carlton, so having a look at the disposal markets, just be careful with that one. For Collingwood, N.Daicos 30+ in his first 4. J.Daicos 20+ in his first 4. Pendles 20+ in his first 4 as well. Bobby Hill 1+ goal in all 4 of his games. For Essendon, Parish 30+ in his first 4. Merrett 25+ in his first 4. Setterfield 20+ in his first 4. Shield 20+ in his first 4. The main ball getters at Essendon are winning the footy, which is helping them get wins. Simple as that. Freo, Sarong and Brayshaw 25+ in their first 4 games, but it drops off a clip after that. Also, Frederick 1+ goal in his 3 games, and Schultz 1+ goal in all 4 games for him. For the Giants, Caniglio in his first 4, 25+. Kelly in his 3 games, 25+. Ash 20+ in his first 4 games, and Brent Daniel, small forward, 1+ goal in all 4 games as well. Guthrie 20 plus in his last 3 games. Smith, Isaac 20 plus in his first 4. Jeremy Cameron 15 plus and 3 plus goals in his first 4 games and in his last 3 games. There, Weller 20 plus from Gold Coast in his first 3 games, or in his 3 games. Anderson 20 plus in his last 3 games. Ainsworth 15 plus in all 4 games, and King 1 plus goal in all 4 games as well. For Hawthorn, Sicily 25 plus and 3 of 4, Moore 20 plus and 3 of 4, CJ 15 plus. For the rest of the squads, have a look at the show notes. For the rest of the teams, top 4, have a look at the show notes. It'll all be there for you. Round 5 preview, so gather around in Adelaide. All the teams head over to Adelaide to play this weekend. Looking at the weather first of all, so at the time of recording, Thursday is looking fine, partly cloudy, 22 throughout the day. 30% chance of rain, so medium chance of showers, not likely throughout the day. Friday, mostly sunny, 0 to 1 mil chance of rain, top of 25 throughout the day. And then Saturday, showers expected, 0 to 20 mil, so quite heavy potentially throughout the day, so take note of that throughout the Saturday games. And then Sunday, a shower or 2, only 0 to 6 mil, so some light showers there. Just obviously good to note that throughout the weekend with all the teams playing there. But cracking into the first lot of games, so we've got Adelaide versus Carlton on a Thursday night. The teams are not up as of yet. Previous encounters, the Crows actually beat the Blues last season in round 20, 84 to 55. And then the Blues beat the Crows 116 to 68 in round 8. The season prior, the Blues won 83 to 73 in round 15. Carlton's actually lost its last 6 games at Adelaide Oval. Adelaide's last 7 games have gone overs. And Adelaide has covered the line in their last 4 night matches as well. The Crows do a 5-day turnaround from Saturday, but no travel. The Blues a 6-day turnaround, travel from Victoria to SA, so a couple of good sort of notes there. As we mentioned, no team lists are up as of yet. We like the Crows in this one, depending on the team list, just being at home, kicking off gather round. I mean, there's a lot of excitement there. Carlton obviously travel away. They've been okay, but they've been patchy, it's fair to say. If they can't put a score on the board, the Crows will kick a score, no matter how good the defence of the Blues is. So looking at Adelaide on that one to kick off gather round with a win for the Adelaide team. Friday's game, we've got the Gold Coast, or Fremantle versus the Gold Coast. That's at Norwood Oval, so not at the main stadium there. The Gold Coast have lost their last 12 games in South Australia, which doesn't fare well for them. The last 6 matchups between Freo and Gold Coast have gone unders. And then also Dockers, they've lost 3 of the last 4 games, and Suns lost 3 of the last 4 games as well. So both teams are 1 and 3 at the moment. The Dockers a 6-day turnaround, but they had to travel, SA to Perth, back to SA again. Gold Coast 6-day turnaround. They've got a tough travel schedule. They go from Vic to Gold Coast, back to South Australia, so a fair bunch of travel for them there. They headed out today as well, so they've got that extra day in Adelaide, or the extra day and a half or day or so in Adelaide to prepare. So just a couple of good notes there. Sydney versus Richmond. In that game, Fremantle Gold Coast, we're 50-50 on it. Gold Coast actually beat Fremantle up on the coast last season. Excuse me. And I mean, it was 69-33 in rain. And then the season prior, the Dockers won 76 to 49. So quite a few low scoring matchups, but they've gone back and forth, obviously, with this one being at South Australia neutral territory, both teams needing a win. So that one's hard enough to pick. We don't have a pick in that one. But if we were to say Hearts on the line, we do like the Suns just through their midfield combos, depending on not if Witts is back though. The Swans versus Richmond. Obviously, the later game, the Swans actually beat Richmond last season, 106 to 100, and they've actually won the last 2 encounters as well. And then they played a low-scoring match back in 2020 when the timers were a bit different. In terms of last few matchups, Sydney has won 7 of the last 8 night matches. Richmond's last 7 interstate games have gone overs. Richmond's failed to cover the line in 4 of the last 5 games without a big nank. And then the Swans 6-day turnaround, only Sydney to SA, Tigers 6-day turnaround, Vic to SA, so not much trouble differences there. We like Sydney in this one, depending on how they line up at the back line. They just have the stronger midfield to go against the Tigers there, and depending on who the Tigers do replace Nank with, it will be interesting to watch. North Melbourne versus Brisbane on the Saturday. We like the Lions in this one. They should get a good and big win depending on the weather. North have actually lost 20 of the last 21 games against teams above them on the ladder. And 9 of Brisbane's last 10 day games have gone over. North, all their 4 games being within 25 points or less. In terms of turnaround, North an 8-day turnaround, only travel from Vic to SA. Brisbane get a 9-day break, or travel turnaround just from Brisbane to SA, so no real advantage there. But we do like the Lions in that one. Last matchups, the Lions beat the North Kangas 156-48 last season, so a 108-point victory in round 3. So obviously North will be looking to right those wrongs, but Brisbane just had the squad to put it on if need be and if the weather allows. Next game is Essendon versus Melbourne, which would be a good matchup. A good matchup of midfields as well. The D's did beat the Dons last season 99-70, and the season prior as well, and the season prior to that. So the D's do own this matchup. Melbourne's actually won 30 of the last 14 interstate games, so they don't mind travelling. And they've covered the line in 7 of the last 8 matches at Adelaide Oval. The Dons a 6-day turnaround, travel from Vic to SA. The Demons actually have a rough ride. They've got a 6-day turnaround from Perth back to Vic and then to South Australia. So a fair bit of travel involved there. Harsh on the legs. But look, we like the D's in a close encounter, potentially 1-39 in this one. They have had 3 big wins, all by 50 plus points this season so far. But the Dons should be able to keep up with them score-wise. If the weather allows, total points over in this one also looks good, just depending on the weather. Last game for the evening on the Saturday is Port Adelaide versus the Western Bulldogs. 50-50 of this one. The underdogs actually won each of the Western Bulldogs' last 3 games. The Dogs have actually covered the line in 5 of the last 6 matches at Adelaide Oval. Both teams in a 7-day turnaround, pretty much with the same type of travel. Sydney to SA, that's the Power last week, but then Vic to SA for the Dogs. Pretty even matchup here, 50-50. We're probably going to stay away from a head-to-head or line in this one because both teams can pull a rabbit out of the hat. We'll be looking at some disposal markets likely for the Dogs. Probably stay away from goal scorers as well on this one. Sunday's game, Geelong versus West Coast. Unfortunately for West Coast, we see it being another big loss with how the Hawks were put away by Geelong last season. It was much the same for the Cats, 131-46 in round 23, and then in round 14 it was a close encounter, but that was in Perth. The year prior, another big loss, 136-39. So Geelong hasn't taken it easy on the Eagles in past seasons. We don't expect them to this weekend either. The Cats a 6-day turnaround, but only Vic to SA. Eagles a 7-day turnaround there. Next game, Hawthorn versus GWS. Obviously the Hawks are going to bounce back, but for the Giants, they've got the better squad in this one, and they did beat them last season in round 16, 72-50 in a low-scoring game. But prior to that, the Hawks actually won the season prior, but then GWS the season prior to that. We like the Giants in this one. Hawks are building something good, but I mean, their main clearance dominator was Will Day, and he's 50-50 with suspension this week. Obviously go to tribunal for that sling tackle, but we'll see how that fares out. But yeah, we obviously like the Giants in this one. Depending on how the weather holds out on the Sunday, the Giants will be able to kick a lot better of a score than the Hawks. Last game of gather round is St Kilda versus Collingwood, which would be a top tier matchup. Obviously Collingwood 3-1, losing their first game last week. The Saints 4-0. This will see where St Kilda is at versus a top tier squad. Last season Collingwood did beat them in round 1, 102-85. And the season prior, Saints actually beat Collingwood 70-61. But obviously 2 totally different structures and teams this year compared to the last couple of seasons. St Kilda an 8-day turnaround, Vic to SA. The Pies actually have a 10-day turnaround, so they're faring pretty well and will be pretty well rested for this matchup and looking to bounce back from the Brizzy game. Looking at round 5 best bets, so our best stats and sort of best bets or combos for the weekend ahead. We'll also have 2-leg multis that do go out to for our members as well, and then obviously individual singles and more combos that also go out with the stats and insights we give out. But looking at sort of those round 5 best bets, so AFL stats round 5, which will also be a TikTok and Reel, as well as all these will. Adelaide's last 7 games have gone over, so the total match points over in that matchup. Melbourne winning 13 of the last 14 interstate games, so Melbourne head-to-head. West Coast losing 11 in the last 12 matches, so Geelong head-to-head. Hawthorn losing 5 of their last 6 matches, so GWS head-to-head. and then Collingwood winning each of the last 5 matches at Adelaide Oval. So that's 5 legs, 5.27 with Collingwood, GWS, Geelong, Melbourne, and the Adelaide Carlton game to go total points over. The AFL stats for Thursday the 13th, so tomorrow night. So Rachele 15 plus disposals in his first 4 games, Rankine 2 plus goals in his first 4, Cripps 25 plus in his first 4 games, and then Curnow 2 plus goals in his first 4 games. That'll get you 340 on Sportsbet. Friday's game, Sarong 25 plus in his first 4, Schultz 1 plus goal in all 4 games, Weller 20 plus in his first 3, Jeffrey 1 plus goal in all 4 games, Lloyd 20 plus, and Taranto 25 plus, 450 on Sportsbet for that 6 combo. Saturday's game, Sheasel 25 plus, Berry 15 plus, Parish 30 plus, Fritsch 3 goals. I think we'll put 2 in for that one. And then Liver 20 plus, 372 on Sportsbet for that 5-legger. And then Sunday's games, Cameron 15 plus, Gaff 20 plus, CJ 15 plus, Caniglio 25 plus, Wood 20 plus, and Hill 1 plus goal, 589 on Sportsbet. As mentioned, go have a look at the reels on Instagram and TikTok that'll come out on the morning of those games. And then good luck for your weekend ahead of punting on the AFL. If you've got any questions about anything sort of delivered, feel free to reach out. As always, feel free to like, follow, and subscribe. And good luck for the weekend ahead.